Hi, welcome to the introduction to Power BI to kick off this Power BI Summit. My name is Laura GB, or slightly more formally, I'm Laura Graham-Brown. I've been playing with data inside Microsoft products such as Excel, Power BI, Access, etc. for way too long, 25 years. And I cover quite a lot of the Power Platform, so I had all sorts of things on there. You'll see on the site there are multiple jobs of mine, micro jobs regarding Power BI, Power Apps, and Microsoft Flow, or Power Automate as it's now called. In this session, we're going to look at the different stages of Power BI at a very high level to start with. Okay, there are 5 stages. We start off by collecting our data, finding your data within your organisation. That is going to be a bigger challenge than you expect, probably. Then we transform the data, we do some changes to it, we make it into the right shape that we want it to be, ready to move on to the 3rd stage for modelling it, where we put in some relationships, we use some DAX and we use some measures to be able to prepare our data ready for stage 4, which is the pretty stage. Let's put in our visuals on different pages, let's bring in slicers, let's bring in filters, let's bring in those buttons to make it all work. And finally, the 5th stage, publishing your report, putting it out there, ready to share with your team. But be aware, this looks like a nice simple kind of 5 stages. Well, that's okay. That's not going to be a problem. But actually, it's a bit more like that. It's a bit more like your collecting and your transforming will take a huge amount of your time. And your modelling, if you do it right, will make your visualizations so much easier. So it's worth spending the time. Be aware, I usually allow for my collecting of data, my transformation and my modelling to take up 75% of my time. The final part, putting the pretty visuals on the page and publishing it, well, that's the easy bit. So that I expect to only be at 25%. And that's possibly quite generous. Possibly it's only 10 or 15%. So do allow time for your collecting your data, transforming it and modelling it. So now we've talked a little bit about the theory, let's get on and look in Power BI. So I'm going to start Power BI off and it takes a little while to load. So here we are in Power BI. On this opening screen, it's loaded a panel in front of everything. And it loads your recent files, and it's got some links in this yellow section off to all sorts of things, such as if I click on tutorials, it will open the browser and will load me the Microsoft guided learning. This is great. It's got lots of things in there, lots of things for you to go over and view in little small chunks in bite-sized topics. So for now, I'm going to close this window. Should you get fed up with this window though, there is you can turn it off on the bottom left there. So I'm going to close it. And here I am in Power BI. Now, let me do a quick guide of this window. So over on the right hand side here, we've got the panels for filters, visualizations and fields. We'll have a look at those once we've got some data. On the left hand side, we've got 3 buttons for views, the visualizations, the data and the relationships. Nothing in there at the moment, but that's okay. And at the top here, we've got the ribbons. Now I'm recording this mid-November. I am expecting quite soon these ribbons will look different. Okay, might even be as soon as next week. So by the time you see this, the ribbons possibly look a little different, but I'm expecting the labels to be the same. Some things might have moved though. So first thing we need to do is we need to get some data. So under Get Data, we're going to pick Excel. For my first bit of data is in an Excel file. So if we look here, I've got a file called Product Sales. I'm going to click on there. I'm going to click Open. And it's going to connect up to the workbook. So once this workbook's open, I get to see what's inside. So I've got a sheet called Sheet 1, and on that sheet is a table called Transactions. So I'm going to click on the transactions and that doesn't select it, but it gives you a little preview. If I put a tick next to it, that selects it. Now I've got a number of options here. I could decide to load or transform the data. So for this example, I'm going to click transform because there's one thing I want to do. And this opens up Power Query. So this is the transformation of your data. Now, this table has got 4 columns. I don't actually want the shop column in this report. All I want is the product and the quantity and the date. So, up on the home ribbon in Power Query, there is a button called Choose Columns. I'm going to select that column. And there you are, it lists all my columns. I'm going to untick shop and I'm going to click OK. So there we are. Over on the right hand side here, it shows me the steps that have been applied, okay, to my query. So we started off with the source, which was my Excel workbook, and it navigated. I'm clicking on each step to see what happens. Navigated down to that table, and then it did some change types. It made it so that the first column was dates and all the other 3 columns were numbers. And then the step we've just added now, which was remove other columns. Should I want to change that step, I could click the cross to delete it, or I could click the cogwheel to select different columns. But we're done for now, so I'm going to click OK. And then in order to load this data into Power BI, on the home ribbon there is a close and apply button. So I'm going to click that. And you will see a little dialog come up telling us it's creating the connection and loading data into the model. And there we are, it's loaded some data. We can check this by over on the right hand side in the fields, we can see our columns listed. And if we look on the over on the left hand side, if we click on data, we'll see, give it a moment, there we go, we've got date, product and quantity, and lots in there, okay, lots of zeros, but we'll have a look at that in a moment. So we now need to go and get ourselves some more data, because product 1 doesn't really tell me very much, doesn't tell me how much it's sold for or what the product is. So I'm going to click on get data, and this data is on SQL Server. Okay, so I'm going to click into SQL Server, and it asks us for our server name and our database. Okay, so I am going to quickly copy and paste those. So there's my server name, and let's put in my database name and click OK. And there we are, it's showing me my 4 queries at the top there, and then a set of tables. Now in this case, what I want is my list of products. So let's have a look at that for a second. And there we are, products 1 to 7, and what their name is and what their price is. So then I'm going to add another table whilst I'm here, which is a calendar, which gives me for every day, it gives me the year, month, month number, day, day name, week number, etc. So I can click calendar there. And this time, if I look, my data's pretty clean, but let's go and quick check. Let's do a transform data. Give it a moment to load it up. And there we are, over in the queries on the left hand side now, we've now got 3 queries. Okay, so our calendar, which is the one that's selected, dark grey, I'm going to click across, and there we are. I've got a number of things there. Interesting, it's decided that the numbers are decimal numbers. Well, a week number is not a decimal, so I'm just going to do a quick change here. I'm going to click on there, and I'm going to say, well, that's a whole number. This is possibly my database is set up incorrectly. I'm just going to quickly change those to be whole numbers. My month is words, that's right. And my year, I'm going to make a whole number. So that's my calendar tidied up. I think I've got everything I want there. Let's go and have a look at my products. There you are. We've got a product ID. We've got a name there. We've got a price. Although all my prices this time are whole numbers, they might be decimals, so we'll leave that as a decimal. Okay. And I'm then going to click close and apply. And there we are, it's loading in our 2 new tables into our model. So we've now got, if we look under data, we've now got a calendar. In the data we've got some products and we've got some transactions. Now, before we can do anything, as soon as you add any data source to your report, the first thing you need to go and look at is the relationships. How do your different data sets relate to each other? So I'm going to click on the model button and that shows it to me. Now if I zoom out a bit and by using the bottom right hand corner here, I get to see all the ones there and I can move these so that they are closer to each other. Now what I'm going to do is just lay it out nicely. I'm going to have my calendar top left. Underneath it's going to be my products and my transactions there. And now I can zoom back in again. So I can see, right, the date in my calendar is going to relate to the date of my transactions. So I drag and drop date from one table to the other one. Doesn't matter which way round you do it. And there you are. If I hover my mouse over that line, it all goes yellow and I get a one-to-many relationship. So on one date, there can be many transactions. Okay. Right, now if I look at my transactions, I've also got that product column. And down in products, I've got a product ID column. So I'm going to drag product onto product ID. And there we go. We've got a relationship between the two. Should you get it wrong, you can right click on a relationship and click delete if you want to. Okay. So we've got our relationships formed. Now we're ready to do some very simple, to start with, visualizations. To switch to the visualizations, we click on the visualizations button at the top here. And there we are on our empty page. So in order to make this page a little bit bigger, I am going to hide the filters by clicking this little arrow here. And let's see what we can do. So let's go for one of the simplest charts. Let's go for a simple stacked bar chart. You click on the visualization and it adds the graphic to the page. We can click and drag that to wherever we want it to be on the page. Now, underneath the visualizations pane, there are the various boxes relating to that bar chart. So we've got axis, legend, value and tooltips. So on the axis, let's do a really simple products. How many of each did we sell? So I'm going to go into my products table and I'm going to take the product name and I'm going to drag it and drop it onto the axis. Okay. And then I'm going to say, well, how many did we sell? There's a quantity column in the transactions table. So we're going to take quantity and we're going to drag and drop it onto value. Now if we go and have a look in our chart, we can see a chart there. Let me expand it a bit so we can see more information. So there we are. We can see the name of our products down the side and a bar chart. Now, that's all very well and good. It's put Grand Chocky Box up at the top there because we sold the most of those. If you don't want it sorted by quantity, you want it sorted by name, how you do that is you click on the 3 dots and we're going to go sort by. Quantity is bold and there's a little yellow bar on the side. So if I click on prod name, There you are. We get small champagne. Well, it's sorted, but in reverse order. So if I go back to those 3 dots, there you are. It was sort descending. So let's go for sort ascending. So now we get champagne first, followed by a dozen red roses, etc. Okay, so there are our products, and there we can see the quantity that they've been sold. So let's go for, maybe we want to show this by year. So we're going to go for a very simple way of filtering this, using what's called a slicer. So in the visualizations pane again, I'm going to click on a slicer, and that gives me a single field box. And what I'm going to put into there is I'm going to expand calendar, and I'm going to bring in year. Now that gives me a slicer with a slider on it. So this means I can pick different years by dragging it across to do the different filters. Okay. So what we're going to do on this one is I'm going to change it from a slicer like that. We're going to, instead of the 3 dots, okay, I click the down arrow just in the top right hand corner, and you'll see you get list, drop down, etc. I'm going to go for a list. So there are my 3 years with tick boxes on them. So I can click 2017, and you'll see the chart reacts, 2018, and the chart reacts a little. Now if I click on 2019, I happen to know there's no data yet for 2019, so our chart vanishes. But there we go. I can click back on 2018, or I can click on 2018 and it's showing all the years added together. Next, we're going to add a card. So if I click card, it shows a big box there. Of course I can resize this. It's just going to have a single number in it. Make sure I'm selected on the card, and you'll see it's just got fields and it's only got 1 box, and it will only take 1 value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put quantity in there. Now instead of dragging and dropping it, if you don't want to do that, you could just click a tick. And there you are. You've sold 208,000 items. And if I click on 2017, you'll see you get a quantity, 18, you get a different quantity. Okay? So that works. If I then give me all the years, but now instead of clicking the filter here, I click in the chart. So if I go for the Grand Chocky box, if I click on it, the other bars go paler, and my quantity is 48,000, which if I hover over there, you'll see is the quantity that's measured there. If I want to select more than one product of that chart, I hold down the control key, and let's pick the other chocolate box, the Petite Chocky box, and add both of those together, and there you are, we get a quantity. I could also then say make it 2017, and there we are. In 2017 we sold 38,000 chocolate boxes. So we've managed to add some visuals, add a card, add a slicer, and watch how they interact with each other. Next step is to go back and do a little bit more modelling. So this time I actually don't want just the quantity, I want to know how much money we took. What was our turnover? So I'm just going to remove the filters here by clicking on the year there to get all the years, and then doing a single click in the chart there to pick one, click again, and there we are. We get back to our 208,000. In order to do the modelling, I'm going to click into my data view on the left hand side, and I want to add a column. Now I've by chance but you can change by clicking on the different tables. I want to be in the transactions table. What I want to do is, firstly, I want to add a column, which is going to be the quantity times, from the product table, the price. So let's go back and let's put in a extra column into the transactions table. Under modelling, there is a button here that says new column. If we click on there, what it will show you is a formula bar where it says column equals. We don't want our column to be called column equals. So I'm going to call our column price equals. And onto this column, I just want to fetch across the price. So we're going to use a function called related. So I start to type in related and it gives us some help. I can then press the tab key and it will finish typing it in for me. So then it gives me the list of all the columns that I can get to via the relationships. If the column you want is not here, you need to go and have a look at the relationships. So we want products, the price column. So I select that one, I press tab and I close that bracket and then I press enter or return, whichever you call that button. And there you are, I get a price column. Product 1, and I've got a price of 5. Let's just go and check that. Product 1 is a single rose and that's for £5. So that works. That's brought through the right price. So now we want to times that price by the quantity. So let's add a new column. And let's call this value, because this is the sales value. And that equals, now I'm going to start to type in quantity. And as soon as I type in the letter Q followed by the letter T, it gives me options. I pick the one I want and press tab and then multiply. And we want to multiply that by the price. Now, as soon as I start to type in price, it gives me the column that I need. Okay. So when we press return, we get a value column there, which is regarding the value of that transaction. So let's go back into our visualizations. And let's just add in another card. And what we're going to do is under our transactions, there's my value column and I'm going to click onto there. And there you are, it's done a very fast sum of 2.2 million. But wait a second, that's money. I want it to look like money. The easiest way to format a number on a card is to go back to the original data and format that. So I go back to my data view, I pick my value column, and on the modelling ribbon, under formatting, there we are, there is a currency format. And I can come into here and I can pick English, United Kingdom, or whichever currency you require. And there we are. We've got our pound signs. So that's formatted that column. And as soon as I go back to my report, the pound sign has come in and I've got my 2.27 million has been brought in. Now if I click on my chart to filter it, you'll see, just like the other card and down to years, I get a total value. Okay, so we've managed to add a calculated column in and we've managed to put in the total value. So this page shows us a quick way of doing a summary over products, etc. How about over time? So let's have a quick look. I'm going to go for a new page just to give me some more space. So down here in the bottom left, I'm going to click on that plus. And let's go for over time, how much money do we make? So on the visualizations, I'm going to pick a line chart. And I've got an axis and a legend, etc. So on my axis, I'm going to bring in my month. Okay. And then on my values, I'm going to bring in the value. And there we are, we get a line. Now if we look, it again has sorted with the biggest first and then going down to the lowest. January is our quietest month. So let's sort it this time by month. We click the three dots. Let's go for sort ascending. And let's also go for sort by month. So it has sorted by month, but it's just seen the months as alphabetical. So April comes first and then comes August, etc. But obviously that's not the sorting we want. We want to change that sorting. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to our data and we need to change that sorting. So in my data view, I'm then going to click on calendar so that I get to see the calendar in here. Now the column that is proving a problem is month. So I highlight the month column and then there's a sort by column. Sorry, button, not column. Click on month and there's a sort by column button. Drop that down and it asks you which column do you want. And by default it sorts by itself. But actually we want to sort by the month number. And the month number will mean that January, month 1, will come first. So click month num. Doesn't appear to make any difference here at all. But I then go back to my visualizations and there you are, January is first. We get a nice peak in February, good old Valentine's Day, and a peak in December because of Christmas. We can then bring in some filters, slicers like we had before. So I'm going to bring in a slicer. And on this slicer, I'm going to bring in the product name. Now, because this one's text, it immediately gives me a list. And that works quite well. I like that. I can click on them. Now, if I want to change some things about this, this is where we step into a topic we haven't looked at yet, and that's formatting, okay? So, under our formatting here, formatting is over back in the visualizations pane, and there is a format button. So I click onto there, and it gives me lots of things I can format. But we're going to stick to the slicer for the moment. Now follow this carefully because it's not intuitive. Under General, you'll see there's all sorts of things here and we can put an outline in, etc, etc. Orientation is vertical. If we change orientation to be horizontal, it becomes buttons. Explain that one to me. Anyway, it becomes buttons and it works quite well. Okay, so we can actually have that, you can make it completely horizontal by making it wider and making it shorter, and there we are, we end up with a whole lot of horizontal buttons. And that's quite nice because we can see that champagne doesn't quite have the same peaks. But if I go for a dozen red roses, there we are, we definitely get the peaks. Nobody buys red roses in March. And chocolates, it's a bit more flat. Okay, single rows, they only really get bought in February and a few maybe in December. But champagne has a pretty even year, apart from it appears November. Okay, so we can put our buttons along there. Now, let's have a look on some other data that we can bring in. So that's one way of showing it over the year. Okay, another visualization you might like is a tree map. Now, a tree map is kind of like the modern alternative to a pie chart. If I click on tree map, let's move it into a space with some resizing, etc. Now let's go for putting into there, let's put in the product name into the group, and let's put in the quantity into our values. Let's go back to quantity again, and there we are. You get boxes to show you how it's doing. Okay, so you can see the various things in there. Now, colours, formatting, that's what we've not looked at yet. This one here, okay, it's got some pretty colours, etc. But you might want, you know what, I want my roses to be red. I want my chocolate box to be a version of brown and champagne to be something else. So, with that graphic selected, I click on the formatting and I go down to my data colours. So, my over-the-top deluxe box, I can pick a colour for it. Now let's say we're going to go for those two, will be the pink range. And my petite ones can be that pink. My roses, I am going to make red. Okay, my single rose, I'm going to make a pink. My champagne, let's make champagne purple. And a small champagne, a paler purple. And my grand chocky box, I think gets to be a dark pink. So there we are. We've picked our colours for our different products, and there we are. That sorts us out for various things. We could do the same on our value by month. We've only got one line at the moment, but we could have it that the legend here again is the product. And there we are. We get lots of lines. That's a lot of lines, isn't it? Perhaps a little bit too busy for here. But if you want to remove that, you turn and say, it's too busy. I don't like that. I can take out the product name. Okay. Now, as again, we can use the tree map exactly like the slicer. So we can click on champagne. And there we are. It's only showing champagne. Okay. So we've had a look at some colours there. Now, one more thing we probably want to change is we want to have a look at this title at the top there. You might want to change that. Okay. So there are lots of things inside formats. I haven't got time in this presentation to show them all, but there is a title. And there's a title text it produces automatically. But we could just change that title text. I've highlighted it. Product by quantity. Okay. You could also change the font colour to be something different if you wanted, and make it centered, bigger text, etc. And you can pick those. If I pick up formatting like that, I can copy formatting around. Copies parts of it. So let me just show you. On the home ribbon, I can go, I've got that one there, Format Painter, and I'm going to click on this one here. And there you are, see, the title has become centered and blue and bigger text. So if you're repeating formatting, do make use of that Format Painter. Just to illustrate this again, let's go back to page 1. and I've got these two number boxes, okay? That little label underneath that one there, we can come into here and we can look at, well, the data label is the number. The category I've got on, I can see what that is by turning it off and seeing what changes. And there we are, the little quantity vanishes. The title is off, so I could turn that title on, expand it, and put in that text into there. And we could then go through and do the whole thing on formatting it up. And then I can pick that, format paint it onto the other card and give that card, if you notice, as you switch between them, keeps you in the same place in formatting. It's quite clever like that. And I can put this in as total value. Okay, so you can arrange your report as you want it to be. Right, so we have brought in, so let's just review what we've done. Okay, we fetched in some data. So going back to our data tab, we fetched in our transactions from an Excel file, our products and calendar from a database. We went into relationships. Now your relationships might be there automatically. It might have recognised them. I deliberately turned off that recognition so that I could demo to you putting in the relationships. So there's my relationships. We can see them there. Okay. And I talked about the fact that we could go back and we could do some changes in the original data. Now I've got a lot of records that say 0 here, so we're just going to do one more thing on this report before we go back and look at how we could publish our report. So let's go back and do one more transform. In order to get back into our queries, on the home ribbon, from wherever, you'll see there is an edit queries button. We're going to click there. And here we are. I've got my 3 queries, the transactions, and if you look, there's a whole lot of zeros in there. So I'm going to do a quick filter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on one of my zeros. Let's make it really clear. So I'm down here. There, click on one of my zeros. Do a right click on there. Number filters does not equal. Click onto there. And what it does is filtered rows here. Now I can do a click on the cogwheel there. And there you are, does not equal 0. So I can come in here and tweak that. And I can add more things into it if I wanted to. But that's okay. Now those of you who might have noticed, I've got a formula bar. You won't have a formula bar when you first go in here. So if you look under the view ribbon, I have turned on the formula bar here. You don't have to have that formula bar, but just sometimes it's worth being able to read what it says up there. So quantity doesn't equal 0 is a good indication of what's happening. Okay, but you do not have to edit that code. These formulas are not the most friendly thing in the world. Yes, do have a go at editing them if you want to, but that is way more advanced than this introduction. So once I've done those changes, I can click into home, close and apply. And there we are. We're back in here. It's going to take a moment just to refresh. And there we are. We don't appear to have any zeros anymore. But actually, if I go back into my visuals, if I take off that year filter, there we are. We're back to our 208,000 quantity and our 2.27 million. So we've not changed any numbers. We just got rid of the 0 records. One thing we haven't done, but we should have by now, is save our file. So let's just save it. Okay. And I'm going to call this Power BI Summit and click save. Now, in order to share this report with other colleagues, what I need to do is I need to publish it to the Power BI service. Now this is step 4 of the whole process. In order to publish it to the Power BI service, I need to have a license. I need to have a Power BI Pro license. Okay. In order for people to see my report, they also either need to have a Power BI Pro license, or you need to have a premium service. Premium service makes sense for large organisations. Now, I'm not going to talk licensing costs here, but when I talk about large organisations, I'm talking about over 1,000 users of Power BI. That's when it starts to kind of make sense. But most organisations don't go there because they're not talking about that many users. We're going to publish our report. So now it's saved. So on the home ribbon, there's a publish button, or on file, there is another publish to Power BI. Okay. So if I click publish to Power BI, it always asks you to save, even if you've not done nothing. But hey, we'll click save. We'll keep it happy. And then it says, well, where do you want to put it? So let me just go and find, I have all sorts of ones in here. Power BI intro, that's where I was going to put it. And click select. And off it goes and thinks about it. It takes a moment. So, success. It's done it. So if I click Open Power BI Summit in Power BI, it's opening up the right window. It's taking me in there. And there is my report. Okay, I agree. It's not pretty. But there's my page 1. And if you look, I can click on these things and they all react in the way you expect. And I can click on page 2. These pages need renaming. Okay, and there's my pretty chart, etc., etc. Right? That all works. Right, and this is Power BI. Workspaces are here, the Power BI service website. So workspaces are here, and there's all my list of my workspaces. If I click on the Power BI intro workspace, you'll see there are some dashboards. Probably going to get a chance to look at those, but there are reports into there. And here are my workbooks you won't worry about now. But when you load your data, it creates a data set. So there we are. I've got a Power BI Summit data set to put in there. Okay. Now, if you've got the data set built already, you can set it up for a refresh. All your data must be online though. So that's where your report and your data set live. Now, should you want it that people don't have to come into a workspace and find things, what you can do is you can make an app. So I'm just very briefly going to show this, as I haven't really got enough time to go into this in huge detail, but I want you to know that it's there. So there is a button up here that says Publish App. I click on there and it asks me about the details. Okay, so not Summit demo. Okay, now you could put in a site where they can find help, etc. I could go and find a nice logo. Let's pick a theme colour. It's roses. Let's go for red. Right? And I could then go for publishing my app. See, it's warning you, it might take a little while if it's got lots of people. Publish that app. And there is the path to let people get to it. And there's the thing to the app. And if I click go to app. So here we are in my app. And if you look, there's a lot less clutter around the screen. Down the side here, I've got my pages that really do need renaming. Okay. And I could have had multiple reports in here, but it's nice and easy. It's very interactive and nice and easy for people to use, and you can give them a single URL to get there. Now, it might be that you don't want people to have to go to a website. Maybe you're a company that has taken on Teams and is working in Teams, and that's how you want it to be part of the one place for everything. So let's go and have a look in Teams. Here we are. I've got a team here called Data Demo, and I've got a channel called Reports. I can click on the plus button at the top here, and I can go for a Power BI report, and I'm going to call it Sales. And let's scroll and let's go find the workspace. Scroll down this workspace. They don't appear to be in any sensible order, and you don't seem to be able to search them either. Power BI intro, there we are. Oh, it's at the bottom. They're in date order. I suppose that makes sense. And I'm going to click on Power BI Summit, and I'm going to click Save as opposed to the channel. You can tell your people you're doing this. Save. And there you are. That's the logo of it loading your Power BI report. And there you are. There is your report. And if we go and have a look in the conversations, it'll even say, look, you've put a new tab in here. But that's one way of getting people in to see your report. Be aware, they still will need a license to get that. Okay? So that's taking our report and that's putting it up into the service and then showing it in Teams. Okay? Right. We're going to go back into Power BI. We've done this part. We've got it. We're going to go back into here. And I'm just going to show you a couple of things. Let's make this report look a little bit more professional. Just do some quick things that I would do. Okay? So, text box. They're great tools. I can bring a text box. I can put in some comments. Make the text big, centered. Drag this box up to be here. There we go. Some really simple little ideas. We can come into here. Now, I want to turn around and say, well, actually, I don't like this color scheme. I want to bring in a new theme. Microsoft love themes. So here we go. Here are the themes. So I can come into here and do defaults, and you'll see, hopefully, the colours. No, that's the one we're already on. If I go to high rise, you should get some different colours. See, you get some nice greens. And frontier, there we are. See, we're looking at different colours. Innovate completely makes it the other way round. And we can bring in some other colours. We can see how those colours would change. So I can come into here. So let's do some colouring on this title bar. Okay, so I'm going to give the background a colour. So under background, I'm going to change the colour to a dark blue. And let's change the text to be white. So I'm going to highlight it and drop the arrow down and pick white. Let's see if that worked. Yay, that worked. I had a bit of trouble getting that to work. And so these ones here, I'm going to go into formatting and I'm going to give them a border. So let's do this and make it a bit tidier. So put these over here. And if you notice the red lines, try and help you to give you some kind of idea of what they're going to look like. And let's put a border on there as well. And we've got our chart here. So we're going to, let's do some format painting. So take that and format paint it over here. Nice bigger title. But we could also type in size on searching for things. And so therefore we can see text size in different places. So we can go for the text size on the y-axis. Let's up it a little bit. Okay, let's make it a little bit wider. So we get to see all of our titles there. And the numbers across the bottom here. So let's scroll down, that's the x-axis. So we can up that text as well, just to make it so it's going to work. And let's make that go all the way up to my button, my numbers. My years. Well, let's make that into buttons, just like we did on the other page. So I'm going to go to Format and under General, and I'm going to change that to horizontal and make it into some buttons along there. Nope, I really do want you to be that short. Thank you very much. And let's put that on the bottom. Let's put that on the bottom left. Does that make sense? And then I'm going to put in a little chart underneath here. So I'm going to bring in a line chart. And let's bring that up to there and make it a little bit shorter. And let's put some months along the bottom. Now I'm just ticking these and seeing if it can guess. And I'm just going to tick quantity. And there we are. It's managed to guess what I'm doing. Okay. And okay, so we're going to put on. We're going to put another border in. We could put another border in. Or if you don't like boxes, and lots of people don't like boxes, you could put in a background. So I could put in a pale blue. Oh, that's a bit bright, isn't it? We could put in a... Now, if you don't like these colours here, I can go and do a custom colour. And I can go in and feed in a bit more of a paler blue. Okay. I've got a box left here. What could I put into there? Let's go for the good old-fashioned. I don't use them very often. Let's go for a little pie chart. Trying to work out what we're going to put on this pie chart. So on to my pie chart there. Oh, let's find out which day of the week is the busiest. So we're going to put in day name. Oops. Now I'm going to make a mistake here. And it's kind of deliberate. Well, kind of, maybe not. I didn't have anything selected when I ticked that day name. So it went, okay, new visual. That's not what I wanted. So let's delete that one. And let's go back and pick my pie chart. So whenever you're doing things like formatting, etc., make sure you've got the right visual selected. And we're going to pick day name. And I'm going to put in value. See, that's a really diddy little chart. I really don't like pie charts. So I don't like pie charts. So I'm going to change it from being a pie chart. And I'm going to change from a pie chart to a tree map. And there we are. I think that shows a better thing that actually Saturday and Friday are your biggest days because they're at the top. And Sunday is your quietest day at the bottom. That's cool. Like that. And there you are. I can now click on these and I can show this. Okay. So we've managed to build a little chart there. Okay. With various bits of details, various parts. We're going to rename this page, aren't we? So let's quickly change that page number. I double clicked there. And I'm going to put in summary. Press return. Now, what I want to do now is I'm going to publish it. Save my changes. That's a good idea. It remembers where I published it last time. So I'm going to click select. And it says there's a data set there already. Are you sure you want to replace it? Yes, I want to replace it. Like you saving over a file on your drive, doing a save as. Similar kind of idea. And there we are. It's done it. Now, I'm going to not click on that link, but I'm going to go back to my browser window here. Let's go for a new tab. And we're going to put into there. We're going to go to Power BI. And there we are. I'm going to click sign in. go to my workspaces, go to my Power BI intro. Click on reports, click on that report there. And there we are, summary, and there we are. There's our pretty page, right? So what we're going to do very quickly is just update our app. And actually, if we go and look in Teams, okay, we probably have to, is there a way we can refresh? Back in Teams. So I went off the tab and back onto the tab. And there we are, our report's refreshed, okay, which is great. So that does my Teams part. If I come back into my browser window, my online report's been refreshed. So with regards to my app, if you have restructured it, it's not just a refresh of data, but you've put new things in there. We need to update the app. And click Update App. And keep clicking Update until eventually it stops asking you to click Update. And if we close that, and then click on our apps, Power BI intro, click on there. There we are, our page has been renamed, and there we go, there is our sales report. So ladies and gents, we went from taking 2 different data sources, which included 3 data tables. We combined them, we put in relationships, we did some transforming, we tidied our data, we brought in some visualizations, and we created our report. We then published it to be an app to make it nice and cool for everybody to see. We shared it in Teams so that our team could see the report. My name is Laura GB. I have various micro jobs on the Collab Summit site. I'm always up for a challenge. So get in touch, let me know how I can help, and have fun playing with Power BI. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.